going on, everybody? It is Moose, Boyle, and Garrett here from OccupyFantasy.com, at OccupyFantasy on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. I'm sure I missed one of those in there as well, but we're pretty much on all the platforms, so go ahead and check us out there. If you're new here and you like what you see, definitely go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe to be notified of when we do these new live streams or we upload some new videos. I'm your host, Moose, at CFB_Moose on Twitter. I'm at the bottom right of your screen. Again, I'm the host. Here with our two Occupy Fantasy NBA writers. To the left of your screen, we have Boyle at TBoyle24_DFS on Twitter. How are you today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I worked 9 to 5, got some homework done, and I'm hopping on with y'all. So it's a pretty good day.
That's awesome. Can't beat it. And then at the top right of your screen, the other NBA writer, Garrett, at GStroms99 on Twitter. How are you today, man?
Doing well, man. Didn't have that much going on like Boyle, but you know, better to be doing nothing than something.
I guess so, yeah. And what's up, T Nasty in the chat? Yeah, so if you're here and you want to say something in the chat, go ahead and say something. We're going to be here till 6 o'clock talking about NBA DFS picks, and potentially we'll use a lineup builder if people have questions about that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and break it down. If you just want to say hello, you can say the chat as well. We're going to bring up the daily plug, which in the Occupy model today, which is available at OccupyFantasy.com. Check the description below for pricing and how to subscribe and stuff like that. So what we see on screen here, daily plug. And I don't know about you, Boyle, but you know, it seems like always one of the biggest things of every NBA slate compared to other sports is kind of injury situations. And you have it written in the if-then section. And I think you're the one that writes the if-then sections, right?
Yeah, I am.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna scroll down here and let's take a look. Let's talk about some of these if-then sections. So if Jalen Brown is out, then his top shot card value quintuples. But in reality, we'll play Tatum and Walker. So if you kind of want to talk us through the Jalen Brown, Draymond Green, maybe even the Clippers situation as well, if you just want to take a couple minutes to talk about those.
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned here, most times in the if-then, there's going to be a cheap option. When someone's normally out, you're going to get like a guy that comes off the bench that starts or something that his value is just going to go up. But with the Celtics, pretty much all the usage just goes right to Tatum and Walker. Both of them are over 34%. I think Tatum's actually 36% usage and Walker's 34%. I mean, both of them would be great low-risk options tonight. I would prefer Walker a little bit just because, I mean, obviously the price difference. And, I mean, the usage rate's only off by about 2%. So looking down at Draymond, Draymond missed a lot of the earlier parts of the season, but in those games, Pascal didn't do anything. He was pretty garbage to be honest with y'all. But and then in the last game that the Warriors played, that Draymond was out, Pascal came off the bench, but he actually outproduced the starting power forwards. I guess the person who started for Draymond, Pascal outproduced him, I should say. He played 32 minutes compared to Mulder, who played only 14. Pascal ended up with a stat line of 11, 7, 3. And then I also saw a small usage upgrade for Wiggins and Oubre, but I mean, it's not anything large enough to make them top place. And then for the final situation we got here would be the Clippers situation. Obviously, Paul George and Leonard are both questionable, which could be kind of sticky to navigate around. So I kind of put in there, if they both play, just avoid this if-then entirely. I don't know how much they will play, but most of the usage is just going to go right back to them. If only one of them play, most of the usage actually hops to the other one. So if Leonard's out, play George. If George is out, play Leonard. Lou Williams also becomes a higher risk play because he handles a usage rate second highest in the team of 28.3 when one of them sits. If both of them are out, then Lou Williams becomes the low risk option, and then Reggie Jackson will also be a safe play as he's been seeing a lot of minutes without Leonard and Kawhi.
Perfect, cool.
Or not Leonard and you know what I mean. Yeah. Paul George and Leonard. I'm sorry.
And what's up, Dot Bets? Looks like he just said. First of all, he said Draymond's in, just reported. Never mind game time. So that's not NBA in a nutshell. I don't know what it is. What's up, Dot Bets? So, all right. So Garrett, let me go ahead and bring you in here. We talked about this, and I'm going to jump back up, and we're going to bring up the Occupy model, Again, you can check this out at occupyfantasy.com with an active subscription. Check the description below on how to become a member. And so we've gotten this question a lot. Is we talk about the if then section, these different things, and now how are we going to use the model for it? And let's start off. You're trying to build, because I know the plug is normally built toward low risk. I know you're more of a, you do play some low risk as well. And so take me through your first couple of steps. How are you playing your low risk lineups tonight? Does any of that if then situation come out as I got to start my lineups this way? For example, like the Clipper situation or anything like that, or how are you doing it?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I just realized that DraftKings put the Denver-Cleveland game on the slate. Last night, this morning, I don't believe it was on it because while I was writing the plug, it wasn't there.
Nice.
So now the Cleveland players in the plug are available on DraftKings. But anyway, for low risk, I think the biggest thing I start out with is looking for the injury beneficiaries, like we talk about in the if then. And we talk about, a lot in the daily plug. So, first I'll start up by looking at the DK value, and I'll see what injury beneficiaries are very high up there. So, if we look at DK value, the first guy that pops up is Willie Hernan-Gomez. He's also slated to be, I believe, the highest owned player on DraftKings tonight. He's going to step in for Steven Adams more likely than not. He's going to play a ton of minutes. I'm all over him tonight. You also see Shetty Osman up there as well. He's projected to be 25+% owned DraftKings, 40% owned on FanDuel. He's going to be in my low risk lineups as well, with Taurean Prince out and Andre Drummond no longer playing for the Cavs. And then I just keep looking down the list for players who will get boosts from other injuries around the league. Darius Garland's up there as well, stuff like that. And then I start to use the OF index a little bit more once I have my value in. It also kind of depends on the slate that we're playing. Mm-hmm. This slate's looking more as kind of like a balanced build. You're going to have some cheap, some elite, and some more mid-price players. OF index, obviously Giannis is all the way up there. He also has a really strong DraftKings and FanDuel value, so he's going to be one of my top low-risk elite options tonight.
Nice. That's always good. And speaking of Giannis, I'll ask this question to you, Boyle. DotBet says my core four tonight is Giannis, Siakam, Kemba, Morant. Do you have any complaints with that?
Honestly, not really. I know we wrote up Giannis as the top power forward. I know because I'm the one that wrote it, but but yeah, I mean, I definitely love Giannis tonight. I mean, if we're not looking at last night's game, I mean, it was a little bit of a blowout last night. I mean, the Bucks still lost. But I mean, Giannis is going up against a Thunder team that he just dropped 72.4 against. So I definitely love Giannis.
Nice.
Kemba, I'm kind of reliant on the fact that Brown's going to be out. If that's the case, if Brown's end up playing, then I'm maybe dropping Kemba down a little bit. But I mean, the other two, I definitely like.
Nice. And Garrett, let me excuse me. Let me bring back a point that you talked about is, some of these high-owned players on DraftKings and FanDuel. And what we've learned is a lot of the top DFS pros match the field on these, or even go higher on some of these players that are super high owned. So I'm in the model here, sorting by DraftKings ownership. Willie 38%, Giannis 28%, Seti 27%, whole bunch of players 20+. I'm gonna put it on the flip side. If you're playing in high risk contests tonight, is there one of these kind of high owned guys that maybe maybe I don't have to match? Maybe I don't have to match the field on this. Maybe I can go a little bit less. Maybe it's not in the best situation tonight. What is there anyone that stands out for you like that?
Yeah, so I mean, looking at the DraftKings ownership, I guess someone who you can go a little bit less on tonight, I might go a little bit less on Andrew Wiggins. He's projected to be around 20% owned. That game against Orlando is going to be very slow paced. Might not be as many opportunities. I might also go lower on possibly Joel Embiid in a blowout game. He has the insane upside that we all know. But in a potential blowout game against Chicago, he might be seeing less minutes, to rest himself up for future games. And then I guess one that I might go over on is probably, I probably Pascal Siakam at 22% if Kyle Lowry's out, of course. I just think he's simply just way too cheap.
I can dig that. What's up, Cody? He says, what's your favorite FanDuel point guard? Boyle, do you want to take that one?
I'm going to have to roll with the plug. I'm going to say Morant.
Okay.
I love Morant tonight. I'm playing him in a decent amount.
Nice. Do you want to kind of sell him a little bit?
I mean, I don't know what else to say besides what Garrett wrote up in the plug. I thought he did a pretty good job with it. I mean,
Yeah,
I can read it off the plug if you want me to.
So let's take a look here. We'll go ahead. Let's see what Garrett wrote about the plug, about Morant here. He's officially back, coming off a triple-double, averaging a double-double in his last 5 games, and has produced 40-plus DraftKings points in 3 of his last 4 games. Tonight's game against Detroit is expected to be one of the closer contests of the evening, and with his usage being back to being around 30%, should not pass up the opportunities of a discount for his production. In fact, in this 5-game span, his price just increased just $300. I mean, that's right there makes him a top point guard option. So yeah, definitely good right up there, Garrett. I can definitely see why Morant is y'all's top play. Cool. Garrett, and then Boyle, I'll actually ask you, we'll go back to the model. We talked about some high-owned guys, and if we filter on the other side, I don't want to see a bunch of zeros, but is there anybody that, on DraftKings or FanDuel, I guess you could say that we have as low owned, and maybe we should double or triple him in our exposures in high-risk contests?
So I know Cat is projected to be pretty low owned because I was just looking around at it. I wrote Cat up, just looking at his last couple of games and everything, but I think, I'm not sure what the model has him at. I can look right now. It looks like they have him at 4%.
Okay.
So, but I mean, everything I wrote in the plug comes up true. I mean, man, he came back, played 5 games, and now he's back playing 37 minutes already. I mean, without D'Lo on the court, he's averaging 1.31, I think. Yeah, 1.31 DraftKings points per minute. He's going up against a pretty small team tonight. So, I mean, I definitely like him as center. I mean, obviously, Willie kind of stepped in once the Adams news broke. He was doubtful, but, I mean, Cat's definitely he's someone that, I mean, you could see him in the winning lineup with his price only at like 9.2, 9.3.
Nice. That's awesome. So, we talked about some point guards. Garrett, what other parts do you write it in the plug? I know you write the point guard. Are there any other sections you write up? I can't remember.
Yeah, I write point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and then the bankroll selection.
Perfect. So, which one do you want to talk about next? Which outside of point guards, which one do you like the most? You want to talk about?
We can hop to small forwards. I like that for a pretty good amount tonight. There's plenty of good plays.
Cool. So,
also, Jalen Brown is in tonight, so just a heads up on that.
Okay. So, how does that change the slate then? I know you.
I don't really think it affects it too much.
Okay.
Kemba's still a strong play, even if Jalen Brown's in there. I mean, it bumps him down a little bit, but he's still viable on the slate.
I'd take Moran over Walker.
I mean, no, Morant's the top play on the not top point guard, but Walker's.
I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with that. All right.
Yeah,
nice.
No, Morant's still the top play.
Nice. Real quick, Boyle, I'll ask you this. Kyle asked, are you adding any Birch now that he's starting?
Not really. I mean, I kind of like who we have written up in the plug over him. I honestly even like Michael Green, even though he's been pretty subpar lately. I like Green over him as well. So.
Nice. Cool. And then T Nasty, good question here. I'll ask this one to you, Garrett. Says if a player is ranked high in the value columns but has an OF index below 7, are they considered bad plays?
So if a player has a value of like a high value and a OF index below 7, I wouldn't say they're a bad play. I'd just say they're a little bit more high risk. I mean, Willie tonight, he has a DK value of 19 and an OF index of 7.4. So I mean, like, his OF index is low, probably due to the fact that he probably has a lower usage than usual. But that's probably gonna go up tonight. The fact he should get more opportunities. So I'm not scared off by his OF index. Also, Use the ownership projection as your friend. If they're projected to be higher owned, you know that he's got to be a good play for some reason. But if you're looking at DeAndre Bembry, who has an OF index of 2.9 and a DK value of just under 10, he's a lot more high risk. He's projected for a lot of minutes if Kyle Lowry's out, but he did not do anything with Kyle Lowry out last game. He got, I think it was like 12 fantasy points total.
Okay, nice. And then, well, I asked you kind of that same question. Here, Isaac Okoro for Cleveland. Value, both sites at 16, like 7th or whatever in value, but an OF index of 5.6. He's super cheap. Is that somebody that you could maybe throw in, or how would you play someone like that tonight?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm building a player pool with like building my 150 lineups, then I'm kind of looking at the model and saying, all right, like he's definitely like up there on the value. Let's throw him in just in case he ends up like outproducing. Sorry, I just saw my mom commented in the chat, so I was a little thrown off by that. But yeah, I mean, again, if you're building the big player pool, then I mean, I'm definitely throwing in probably about the top 8 or 9 guys off of whatever site I'm using value.
That makes sense. Boyle, I will say you were a little sluggish in the beginning. And once your mom came in, you sat back up. You got the smile on your face. You got
oh yeah, I have
You're
to.
looking good now. So thank you, Mrs. Boyle.
I have to.
She puts him into place.
Nice. And Boyle, are you going to answer a question? Is Ben Simmons a good play tonight?
Oh, is Ben Simmons a good play tonight? I mean, I'm not playing him. You can play him if you want, though, Ma. It's up to you.
Nice. This is great.
My mom wouldn't even know how to get onto this.
Garrett, I'll ask you this. It's actually the dad. Rip. All right. Dotbet said, Garrett, I'll ask you this one. With a big slate, is there a rule of thumb to leave a certain amount of salary on the table to be different?
Not really on NBA DFS. It's not like single game or like we sometimes do it in NFL, but on NBA we don't want to leave that much salary left over. I would say max probably around 700. But that's the max case. Usually if you look at the winning lineups, they're gonna have maybe 400 salary left over, but not a ton.
Cool. And then Hawk Dark, I'll ask this one to you. Well, we already kind of talked about Birch, but do you have any thoughts about Ennis tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really get too much usage, especially in the starting lineup. I mean, it's normally Vooch and it's normally Fournier who's the biggest bump, and I'm sure Carter Williams, the point guard, is going to eat up a decent amount too. I'm personally staying away from both of them, but I mean, maybe you can make a case for Birch in high risk. I know the model's probably not updated with it yet, but I mean, that's normally my key for high risk.
Nice. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so keep the questions coming, guys and gals. We're here for about another 10 minutes or so, and then I got to get up out of here. But yeah, if you like what you saw tonight and you want to see more, go ahead and hit that like button on the video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification to be notified of when we do some more videos. We're going to be doing a lot more live streams on YouTube, doing some more actual videos as well, so it should be a lot of fun. Let's see, so we're all caught up on that. And all right, so Garrett, I know we were talking about with you, we're going to talk about some small forwards, but then we got hit with a bunch of questions. So yeah, so take us through the small forwards tonight. You wrote up Siakam and Josh Hart. Kind of talk to me about them.
Yeah, so I mean, Siakam is another one of those beneficiaries from Lowry, and if Lowry's out, you're going to see a ton of people play Siakam. He averages like 47 DraftKings points per game, and he actually averages, I think, 29 and 7 with Lowry off the floor, with Lowry out. So he's like a low-key triple-double threat with Lowry off the floor. He also has been starting at center recently, and the Timberwolves can't cover centers really. Even with Cat back, I mean, they're still struggling a little bit in that area. So that's definitely a benefit to Siakam. And so, I mean, it's supposed to be a closer game, probably because Toronto's on a second half of a back-to-back, expected to be missing Lowry. So I love Siakam on both sites, but a lot more on DraftKings because of the $1,000 price difference. But then Josh Hart, he's just another beneficiary from Steven Adams. He might not start because the start will probably go to Willie. but Hart saw 30 minutes in the last 2 games that Adam left early. And in the one game without Adams this year, he actually got 43.25 DraftKings points and had a double-double. So he's definitely a really strong value.
Nice. That's always good. And then, we talked about Seti, but you also put Sadiq Bey and Will Barton if he plays as other small forward options.
Yeah, Shetty's now my favorite low risk play, though. He's on both sites now that he's on both sites.
Yep. Perfect. That's awesome. Yep. So that's somebody that you could definitely put into your low risk lineup here. So we got 9 minutes left. I'll kick it back over to you, Boyle. What else do you want to talk about for the last couple minutes?
It put me on the spot. I don't know. Did Brian have an agenda? I think he sent us something like an agenda he wanted us to go over.
Yeah, we pretty much covered it all. Just talked about some plays.
No, I just want to make sure we covered it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all good. What's one of the positions you wrote up? I know you like.
So I did power forwards and centers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a front court guy.
Nice. So I have power forwards up here. Giannis and Zion at your top picks, your elite and mid, and it's other power forward options. Grant, Green, McGee as a high-risk FanDuel play. So kind of take me through Giannis and Zion. I know we talked about Zion earlier in the show. He's a beast. I mean, I don't know. There's not really much else to say about him, but if you want to take a few minutes to talk there.
Yeah, of course. So, as I mentioned in the plug, Giannis has been averaging. If you take away last night, which was kind of weird because it was like somewhat of a blowout. Giannis has been averaging 70.02 FanDuel points per game ever since Holiday went down when I think he has COVID, which would be good for 6.5 times his current price. They've lost all the games without Holiday except for one against the Nuggets, but they've lost their last 5 now without him. So, I know Vegas normally predicts the Bucks to blow out their opponents, and that can defer some people away from playing Giannis. But, last time they played the Thunder, Giannis had 72.4, and I think the Bucks lost in overtime. I want to say it was either overtime or right at the buzzer. He plays the Thunder again tonight. So, that's kind of where we stand with Giannis. We think that he's probably got the best chance on anybody to be the highest scorer. Looking at Zion, while he didn't perform too well without Adams, he does average a usage rate of 31.3 without Adams on the floor this season, which is good for 1.35 DraftKings points per minute. So, I know both the power forward options are basically elite options, but we really think that they're keeping both of them in there is number one, could differentiate you, and two, they're both really solid plays. If you do want to go cheaper, we do love JaMychal Green. He should be starting again. And, he hasn't been doing too well, as you mentioned earlier, but, he is getting the minutes, so.
Nice, cool. Let's see here. We got some questions here. Okay, yep, so, yeah, apparently
Simmons is now questionable.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it's NBA DFS. What do you expect?
Exactly, yeah. Boyle, since you wrote up centers, I'm going to ask you this one really quick. This question here from Cody says, is this a pay down or pay up for centers tonight on FanDuel?
I guess it depends how you want to go with it. I wrote up Towns, and I guess based off his ownership, he's more high risk now. So if you're going low risk, I would probably go Willie. But I really do think Cat's a great high risk option tonight.
Nice. And of course, the Boyle family gets treatment over questions. Since guards light it up,
that's definitely my dad. Yeah, that's definitely my dad.
And I'll ask this one to you, Garrett. Since guards light up the Sixers, is LaVine a good play?
I was writing up the plug this morning, and I thought the exact same thing. I was like, should I write up LaVine just because guards light up the Sixers? And he's definitely in play. I just think that Van Vliet will be so much higher owned, especially if Kyle Lowry's out. So, LaVine's a nice pivot off of that. The ownership definitely will go the other way. So, depends how risky you want to be. But, LaVine's up there. It's just his price has started to increase too. So, there's that as well.
Cool. Awesome. And then, Boyle, if you want to take this question here. Any love for Vucevic or DeLon Wright?
I always love Vooch just because he's one of the centers that got a lot of usage. Tonight, I'm not really playing either one of them. I mean, Vooch or Wright. I mean, as we just kind of said at center, I'm kind of just going with Cat and Willie and just doing my low risk with Willie, my high risk with Cat. And I haven't really looked at Wright too much. I mean, he just hasn't really been up my radar too often, at least today.
Cool. And then last question here, Garrett, is it Seth Curry season?
I'm actually updating the plug now, but Seth Curry's definitely in play. We saw him go off last game without Ben Simmons. I'm actually about to look at what he actually put into the game. He shot 8 for 13, 3 for 5 from deep. He also had 5 assists in the game, which was surprising. So I mean, he played 37 minutes. Even if the game gets out of hand, I mean, I guess Seth Curry is a decent low risk option. He's just very scoring reliant.
Yep. Cool. And I don't know if we answered this one. I think we did, but we'll answer it again. Boyle, what's your thoughts on Birch?
Yeah, I think I've answered this a couple times already. But yeah, I mean, out of Birch and Ennis, if I'm doing high risk, then maybe a little bit of Birch if I'm building like 150, but I'm not really on him too much.
And then actually, last question here from
I
Eagles.
still think.
Go ahead.
Oh. No, I was gonna say I still think he's only going to see about like 20 to 24 minutes, even though he starts, because that's basically what Clark was seeing with the in the starting lineup. So I just don't think he sees the minutes to really get value.
Okay. Cool. And then Garrett, last question here from Eagles. In high risk, are you guys playing 3 elites from the plug?
I'm probably just going with 2. I'm probably in high risk. I'll probably go with 2. In some cases, I might go with 3 to differentiate a little bit. Yeah, that's just me. I mean, going 3 elites will definitely like differentiate you, will allow you to kind of get some more cheaper options in there as well. Definitely a good high risk build.
Cool. Awesome. So I think that'll pretty much wrap it up. I'll take us out of here. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at Occupy Fantasy. You can follow me at CFP_Moose. Follow Garrett at GStroms99. Boyle at TBoyle24_DFS. That'll wrap it up for today. Tomorrow, we'll be doing a UFC stream. Not with us 3, but with Brian. I'm not sure if Jake's going to be on here, the UFC plug writer. But I know at least Brian will be here. So check us out. Again, make sure you hit the bell notification to be notified of when we go live on here. But until next time, Moose, Garrett, and Boyle from Occupy Fantasy, have a good night.
Peace.
See you guys.